Hi everyone, Sheena Hansen here with another frequently asked question video, and today I'm going to be talking about inherited retirement accounts. What happens when you inherit a retirement account? Well, the rules have actually gotten complicated over the last few years. The Secure Act was passed January 1st of 2020, and so that's when things really changed for beneficiaries of retirement accounts. So I thought I would explain so that you know what to expect or your beneficiaries know what to expect in the future. So really, in a nutshell, there's two groups of beneficiary types. If you look over to the right of the screen, a non-eligible designated beneficiary, that's what I see most of the time. Non-spouse beneficiaries. So a lot of people are falling into this category. Maybe it's a child or a brother or a sister, someone who is a person and not a spouse. Now, off to the left hand of the screen, eligible designated beneficiaries. This is kind of what I call the exception group. This includes surviving spouses, disabled persons, chronically ill people, people who are not more than 10 years younger than the decedent. Most commonly, that might be a cousin or a brother or a sister. Minor children, and then also sometimes see-through trusts. I should mention I am going to be speaking to person beneficiaries. The rules are different for entities like trusts or charities, and so that's something that I'm not going to touch on today because 99% of the time I deal with beneficiaries who are in fact people. So let's talk about the group that are the non-eligible designated beneficiaries. So most of the time, this includes non-spouses. So these people are going to first re-register that retirement account into their name with an inherited IRA or an inherited type of titling to go along with it. And what they're required to do is follow what's called the 10-year rule. So what this rule means is that the beneficiary, they must empty that account within 10 years of the account owner's passing. So there is a 10-year limit on that person being able to maintain and own that account. So here's an example. Judy Smith passed away on October 3rd of 2024. Her son Alex, who was a non-spouse beneficiary, was the named beneficiary. Alex must have the account empty by December 31st, which is the year end of 2034. So 10 years per the year end after Judy's passing. So there's one more caveat here, one more rule that sometimes piggybacks onto the 10-year rule, and that has to do if the decedent was taking required minimum distributions. So if that's the case, if Judy was, say, 75 and she was taking required minimum distributions, then Alex, in addition to having the account empty within the 10-year time period, every year during that 10-year time period, he needs to continue taking those required minimum distributions. So that's how the rules work for this group of beneficiaries. Now, let's kind of move on to what I call those exception people, the eligible designated beneficiaries. Surviving spouses, we've got that listed at the top here. Those people have the most flexibility. They have two choices. They can keep the retirement account in an inherited type of registration in their name, and there are some reasons to do this, or they can completely treat that account as their own and title it as their own retirement account. Again, they really just have the ultimate flexibility and have a lot of choices. The other exception people listed below surviving spouses, they can continue to maintain the account for their lifetime. There is not the 10-year rule, but what they do have to do is take required minimum distributions calculated based off of their life expectancy. And it's this kind of terminology is called the stretch. and they can maintain that account for their lifetime, but they just have to take those required distributions. So here we've got an example. Jim Doe passed away April 18th of 2023. His brother James was the named beneficiary. James was 3 years younger than Jim, so the exception that applies here is, being a person that's not more than 10 years younger than the decedent. So James, he'll re-register the account in his name as an inherited retirement account and start making the RMDs based on his life expectancy. And he can continue to maintain the account for as long as he wishes, all the way up until his passing. One thing I should say about these rules for non-spouse beneficiaries, or even this group of what I call exceptions, the rules pretty much are the same for pre-tax retirement accounts and Roth accounts. The one thing to know about an inherited Roth account, I did mention kind of in the previous slide, if the account owner was taking required distributions, RMDs, that they have to have that emptied and then also take the required minimum distribution on top of that. Long story short, I'm getting long-winded here. If a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k is inherited, you do not need to take required minimum distributions. I think this just goes to show that these rules are complicated. And so, you need to kind of know what rules you need to follow to be able to comply with the IRS. So, there's a lot of things that we do around here at Uncommon Sense Investing to kind of help beneficiaries of retirement accounts manage all of the rules, manage having an account emptied within a 10-year time frame, taking required minimum distributions, tax planning especially. If you think of the example of Judy and Alex, if Alex was inheriting $1 million 401k and had to have it emptied within 10 years, well, there's some tax planning that needs to be done there and some strategy. So we definitely help along those lines. But, I hope this video did help kind of bring more understanding as to what beneficiaries can expect when inheriting a retirement account. Of course, certainly give us a call if you have questions on your specific situation. Thanks for tuning in.